Last time I made this video, I had 1,900 Lapis, with some incredible global original units that were on the horizon. Luckily, I scraped by with 20 tickets, and still managed to get what I wanted. And now, behold! Look how the turns have tabled! Alright, generally I'd give you the whole shtick that is a free-to-play, I have a finite amount of Lapis, I have to be careful, blah blah blah, but look, I have 100,000 Lapis. There is no way you can take that speech from me seriously. I can't take myself seriously right now. Like, I know this only guarantees 2 featured units at worst, but seriously, 100,000 Lapis, that looks like a lot, doesn't it? But still, I do have to outline that this isn't a review, since I already made some, so go check those out if you still want to find more information. Don't treat this like a tier list you might find on the internet, as this is just me. Though this might give you some insight since I'm pretty confident in my selection. Anyways, let's start at the present. Venera is an incredible unit with a plethora of tools that can make you into a better player. However, I am already a very good player. I once gave Rizer my Super Trust Mugo to get the legendary Super Trust Master reward Game Breaker. But really, the banner as a whole has some tempting awards, so I may want to pull later on. Next, Easter, maybe. That's definitely a banner I'd like to spend on, but there's literally no news here, so it's another thing that can really affect my Lapis stash. On to the regular schedule. Next up is Mello and Ignacio. Mello's a great unit for magic damage dealers that like to use their limit burst, but unfortunately I don't care enough about Mello to go out of my way to get his equipment. I don't have that many Ignacios either, nor do I need him for any reason. Then, Fullmetal Alchemist. It's a collaboration, and there's just something about these limited time banners that makes them all the more enticing. I am a fan of Fullmetal Alchemist, and the units are fairly strong to boot. Unfortunately, the Japanese version was apparently extremely expensive, but I have faith the developers will put profits aside and lower the cost for the player base. Then, Final Fantasy 15. Noctis and Arden are powerful units, but they'll definitely be eclipsed by Neovision Lunafreya. It also might help that I've never played Final Fantasy 15, so there's no attachment there. I don't have enough copies to Neovision Awaken Arania either, though I am prepared with Nyx. Speaking of Lunafreya, as she boasts one of the highest estimated damage outputs in the game by an incredible degree, there's no doubt that this will be one of the biggest banners that players will spend on. It helps that there are 3 competent Neovision Awaken units here as well, so this is an event to look out for. That should be it for April, though apparently we'll be getting the mysterious King Bahimi sometime within the month. If they don't plan to shift any of the established banners, I'd guess it may replace the Easter event, though it's a pretty big leap. King Bahimi is supposed to be a tank, but I already have 2 good ones. On the other hand, that unit design looks incredible, and if they really do well on the sprite, I'll definitely consider spending. Neovision Zedon is a very strong supporter and damage dealer, but I actually tend to put more emphasis on aesthetics than gameplay. April looks to be a pretty intensive month anyways, and since Zedon is somewhere in the middle of this, he's not exactly the best in either regard. As a result, I might not have enough Lapis to purposefully chase him. Same goes for Neovision Vivi, since he's probably going to show up on the same banner. Beatrix should have an associated event, kind of like Gilgamesh, which might make it easier to Neovision Awaken her. Neovision Corral is probably the least enticing unit on the list, especially when he's put next to Venera. He just tends to suffer in multiple aspects when compared with different units, which is a real shame for a new unit. The Verti's a lot more interesting, as a evoke damage dealer and a magic tank, but this isn't the best of both worlds scenario. He's a bit subpar when compared to a pure row, and more often than not, I tend to prefer specialization rather than generalization. Then there's a Trials of Mana collaboration. Depending on the amount of units they release, this might be a fun banner just for the sake of it. One of Neovision Hawkeye's biggest breaks, 87% defense break, is rendered moot by Venera's 90% break, though he has a lot more elemental tools and the damage to ensure he doesn't suffer from the same drawbacks as Corral. Angela and Duran are fairly powerful damage dealers, and while I probably won't use them so much, I would enjoy having them. Same logic applies for any of the lower rarity units. But then there's a physical damage dealing Charlotte, with incredible defensive support and powerful physical damage. With a nice array of application and a CG limit burst to boot, Charlotte's definitely one of the units I'd like to get. Emperor Vlad is a very strong finisher, but I thought that his story application was pretty lackluster. Regardless, he's on the same banner as Charlotte, so there's a decent chance of Salt in the future. Ibarra and Seaguard appeared in Japan, and while I don't see why they'd go together, I can't say they wouldn't. Well, anyways, I didn't try to get Ibarra when she first came out, and I'm not inclined to do so this time either. My Seaguard's ready to be Neovision Awakened anyways. There's the Final Fantasy XI banner. I've never touched Final Fantasy XI, so I'm not that interested in their representatives. F2P is a great breaker and a physical tank, but I have well-established units that can fill out both rows, so I'm not too excited for a release. I don't think I'll need the row compression either, so I'm willing to skip this banner. Finally, there's Neovision Aerith, Tifa, Sephiroth, and Rizer. though details surrounding them are still fairly vague. Aerith might become an incredible light supporter, and she seems to be able to self-chain with tag attacks to boot. Tifa looks to be a powerful water damage dealer, and while she, Sephiroth, and Rizer need numbers and further details to establish their viability, the first two are getting a CG Lima burst, and Rizer's pretty much a divine being in the Brave Exvius universe, so it's a pretty easy decision. So let's take a look at this from farther back. I'm interested in War of the Visions, whatever they plan to do for Global in April, Fullmetal Alchemist, Neovision Lunafreya, let's throw King Behemoth somewhere around here as well, Trials of Mana, Neovision Charlotte, then Neovision Aerith, Tifa, Sephiroth, God Rizer. That's about 11 out of approximately 17 banners if all of the units are being split up, which is quite a hefty price. Worst comes to worst, I'll just prioritize the ones I like, so top 5 would probably be Rizer, Sephiroth, Aerith, Tifa, Lunafreya. The rest, it's a shame, but as a free-to-play I'll probably have to skip. So that's my plan for the future. Unfortunately, 100,000 Lapis isn't enough to guarantee everything I want, but it was definitely sobering to take the time to figure this out. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Tell me your plan for the future. Are you a free-to-play that plans to save for a certain banner? Or do you have the leeway to spend on several of your favorite units?